So let me give you the good news, no matter how bad the news is. Okay. That's always there. The banks have to lend money. So when people say, well, you should save cash, why would you save cash when you can borrow it? So, it's almost like the real estate owned. Remember those days? In 2008 and all that property was available, but the bank owned it. REO, as they're called, real estate owned. You go to the bank and they said, look, you got this office building, nobody wants it, sell it to me. And the bank would actually loan you the money to buy the property.
So where do you think we're heading with the real estate market and the debt market and all that?
I just want to say to people, to borrow $300 million, you've got to be absolutely spot on with the management. And as you know, management is a key for real estate, for businesses, for the government, everything. And if a person cannot manage, we're screwed. So as long as we have our management skills in, we'll do well. Like I don't really care. As I said in front of the room, I said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Lacey Hunt was one of the guys with the Dallas Fed, I think. And he was talking GDP, gross domestic product, equals money supply, M2, times velocity of money. When they measure GDP, they don't measure broken glass. That means, so they don't measure the losses. They measure the gains in GDP, but they don't measure the number of shops that are closed. So ever since Lacey Hunt said that, I went to our friend's place, I'll mention his name, and he was trying to sell me the whole top floor of this building. And I walked into that, and I turned it down because it's office space. I don't understand office. I understand apartment houses. I don't understand office space. So I went into this office building I was supposed to buy. It was 70% empty. That's broken glass. And that means somebody is not receiving the monthly payment. So every time the Fed chairman, this guy Powell, gets up there and says, oh, we're issuing, we're going to print money, they don't print money. But everybody thinks when the Fed says we're printing money or quantitative easing, they think it's M2. The Fed doesn't print money. The Fed prints bank reserves. And the difference is we cannot spend bank reserves. It's not money. But everybody says, oh my God, there's going to be inflation because the Fed's printing money, but they're not printing money, they're printing bank reserves.
Things are going to go up. If you're still renting your home and expect to be there for at least another year, I would look into asking for a 2-year lease the next time your lease comes up. Now, I know some of you might be apprehensive about all this, especially if you feel like you could be buying a home a year from now. I would advise you to cross that bridge when you come to it. As a property owner, I'm not encouraging you to break your lease, but they may work with you if you find a new tenant or sublet your place. If buying your own rental property isn't in the cards right now, a real estate investment trust or REIT are a good way to invest your money. REITs are companies that own and operate real estate for a profit. When inflation rises, so can rental income. Different REITs invest in different types of assets, so you will need to do your homework here. I recommend that if you are investing in REITs, that you take a look at multifamily housing, data centers, and industrial real estate. All three types of this type of real estate are poised to keep going up. And investing in those types of REITs, because it's real estate, will also allow you to basically capitalize on future inflation.
So let me give you the good news, no matter how bad the news is, okay? That's always there. The banks have to lend money. So when people say, well, you should save cash, why would you save cash when you can borrow it? So, it's almost like the real estate owned. Remember those days? In 2008 and all that property was available, but the bank owned it. REO, as they're called, real estate owned. You go to the bank and they said, look, you got this office building, nobody wants it, sell it to me. and the bank would actually loan you the money to buy the property. The secret to life is how much money can you borrow and how well can you manage that debt.
When you go get that bank-owned property, what do they ask? Who's your team? How are you going to manage it, and how are you going to fix it? Because that's how they make money. So it's almost like handing, a baton in a race. Like they hand you the baton and they hope, that you can take it up the value, and then they can get it off their books. And that's essentially how the real money is made. Is you got to wait though. You don't want to catch that falling knife. You want it to actually be at the bank. You want to go to the bank. You want to negotiate with the bank, and that's where you get the heaviest discounts on real estate, and then you fix it.
So let me say this much: is the easy part is raising the money. The hard part is managing the property, and I think that's what people forget, because when Kim and I first started out, the managing a property is the biggest business of all. But it also, if you're just a mom and pop, you can only manage so many properties. And so that's what gets most new real estate investors in trouble, is they don't know how to manage the property. Real estate's in a bubble, stock market's in a bubble, bond market's in a bubble. So I just caution you on that, because as some of you heard me before, the best time to buy is after the crash. Everybody was saying get out of debt, live debt-free and all that. And for most people, that's really good advice. If you have no financial education, live debt-free and all this. But the biggest mistake that people make is they call their house an asset. And if you understood a financial statement, which is rich dad, poor dad, assets put money in your pocket, whether you work or not, and liabilities take money from your pocket. So the average person, even if they have a PhD from Harvard, they're buying liabilities they call assets. So it's because Wall Street and the Federal Reserve Bank and all those guys are telling you what to do.
The tax code has always been, and it will be, a guide to teach you what you can do legally. That's essentially what it is. People don't look at it that way, but it's really a book that says, okay, here's what you can do. So if you work within the rules that they tell you, and that's the piece they don't, what they do is they take their tax returns to somebody and then just does their books, but there's no tax planning. We're all waiting for a crash. That's what all my guys that made money in the past, they're like, when do you think the crash? The number one question. When's this thing going to crash?
I think it's already here.
Could be.
That's why they're dumping treasuries. That's why interest rates are so low. They need cash. You know what I mean? The reason they sell T-bills is for cash. They need the dollars.